Hello everybody, we now start with the next chapter in ICSE Standard 9th Biology, that is the flower. That's the fourth chapter of the textbook. So, see, we know that the plants can reproduce by both methods, that is asexual method as well as sexual method. In case of asexual method, we know that they will be doing it through the modified roots or modified stems or leaves or maybe artificial kind of propagation. But when it does through sexual reproduction, then the flower is the, we can say, the reproductive organ. The main reproductive organ of the plant is the flower. So flower can be said to be as the main reproductive organ of the plant. So it's so in this chapter we are going to discuss, or we are going to understand the different parts of the flower, the different words of the flower, that is what the main parts, which is the sexual parts, and which are the accessory parts of the flower, and what is the different kinds of the flowers, and also the different kinds of the parts of the flowers. So let's start with the chapter, the flower. We have already learned that reproduction is the most important function of any living organism for the survival of the species. Yes, if the species needs to survive, then the only way it could survive is by reproduction, because only by reproduction they can form new generations after generations, and that's why they can remain, or they can sustain, or they can exist in the environment. Otherwise, they cannot have such a big life that they will always be there. One particular individual will have a lifespan. तो वो lifespan खत्म, तो automatically it will get extinct. So that's why to keep its generations going, it needs to reproduce. In flowering plants, this function is performed by the flower. So the reproduction is performed by the flower in flowering plants. The flower is usually the most beautiful and conspicuous part of the plant. So, yeah, the most beautiful part of the tree or any kind of a plant would be, of course, the flowers. More colorful, bright, and always the most attractive part of the plant will be the flower. Now let's understand the structure of a bisexual flower. So, flower is a specialized shoot in which the leaves are modified into floral structure. So if we define flower, that what is a flower, then we can say a flower is a modified shoot. Okay, it's a modified shoot in which, or a special, not a modified, but a specialized shoot where the leaves are modified into floral parts. So it's a specialized shoot in which the leaves are modified into floral structures. So let us first draw the flower so that we can understand the different parts which are there. So I'll just draw the figure first. So we start from the bottom. So at the bottom over here, the lowermost part over here is the stalk, or the receptor and thalamus. So this, of course, is the stalk. Okay, and over here is the thalamus. Okay, so, or we can, what I call is the one which is given in the textbook as receptor. So I'll take it as receptor. Receptacle. Okay, so that's a receptacle. Now, over here, these parts over here, the green parts over here, this one, these are the sepals. So this part over here is the sepal, and collectively the sepals are called as calyx. Okay, not given the textbook, but I'll tell you, when we read it, we'll come to know about this thing. So sepals are the green colored part, which is collectively called as calyx. Then comes the So that's the, okay, not symmetrical, doesn't matter, I'll remove it. So these are the petals, collectively called as corolla. Yeah, petals, the corolla. Inside there is, over here, there is this female organ which contains the eggs. These are the eggs what we are drawing. And this one contains a stem like this and then a seed like this. So this over here is the female part. So the female part consists of, I will write down over here, this is the stigma, this over here is the style, this over here is the ovary, this inside over here are the ovules. Okay, so it is style, stigma, style, ovary, the outside part, and the ovule, this is the outside part which is the ovary, and the inside part which is the ovule, and collectively these four are called as pistil. So the female reproductive part, or you can say the female gamete, is called as the pistil, which is also called as gynoecium. So gynoecium or the pistil is the female part which is drawn here. The next one we see is the male part. So the male part consists of such filaments with a bilobe structure on top of it called as the anther. So this is the filament and the anther. This is the filament and the anther. So yeah, this is the anther. The anther contains the pollen grains, which are the male reproductive cell, and this is the filament. Collectively, these two are called as stamen. Okay, collectively it is called as stamen. So anther and filament, male part, collectively called as stamen. Stigma, style, ovary and ovule, collectively called as pistil, which is the female part. Outside colorful part, the petals, corolla. The lower green part, sepals, called collectively calyx. The lowermost part, stalk, connected to the stem and the receptacle. So now let's see the things in detail. We'll refer to the figure whenever it's required. So yeah. So first thing is, first of all, there is a stalk, also called as pedicel. The stalk or the pedicel, which supports the flower. It is the one which is supporting the flower. It is the one which is connected to the branch or the stem which is going to support the flower. Some flowers may be without stalk, like the sisal flower. Sisal flower doesn't have a stalk. It directly is there as a, on the branch, directly over the petals. So it doesn't have a separate receptacle, the stalk. It directly is there on the stem. The tip of the flower stalk may be expanded to form a cup-shaped receptacle called thalamus. So receptacle, or also called, as I told you that time, that is thalamus. So receptacle or the thalamus, which is there, which is a cup-like structure over here, that is the receptacle, or the thalamus, which is at the bottom, which is the tip of the flower stalk. The tip of the flower stalk, there is a receptacle or the thalamus. The floral parts are borne on the thalamus in 4 whorls. So there are 4 whorls, so 4 main parts. Whorls means 4 main parts. So the four main parts, the four main parts are there on this particular thalamus. So the thalamus has got four whorls on top of it. First one, the first whorl, the green sepals, collectively called calyx. So the green sepals are collectively called as calyx. Now these calyx are the one which is the originally the bud stage में जो flower को protect करता है, that is nothing but the sepals. So the sepals are the leaf structures forming a bud when the flower was in the baby stage. So when it was in a baby stage, whatever is the protection के लिए जो bud formation है, that is nothing but the original sepals, also collectively called as calyx. The next is second whorl, large brightly colored petals, collectively called as corolla. So corolla or petals. So petals are collectively called as corolla. They are large, brightly colored, so very prominently seen. So these are the second whorl. The third whorl, that is the male part. The third whorl is the male part. That is the male part. Long thread-like processions, somewhat projecting out, and each usually ending in a bilobed tip. So each and every filament is ending with a bilobed tip on top of it. This bilobed tip on top of it is, so these are stamens collectively called androecium. Each stamen consists of thread-like filament and anther, which is on the top. So that's why we see that the androecium, these are the stamens or collectively called as androecium, which contains the filament and the bilobe structure called as the anther. The fourth whorl is the female part. So the female part is the female centrally located pistil. So this is the whole thing which is centrally located, called as pistil, collectively called as gynoecium. They may be formed by a single female unit carpel or of several fused carpels. So there may be just one carpel or maybe several carpels. The carpel pistil, one the same thing. There are different names given to the same, same thing are given different names. So carpel, pistil, gynoecium, all similar words. So this can be of a single carpel or could be a multiple carpel fused together to one, and they are collectively called as gynoecium. Each carpel consists of a basal ovary, a middle style, and upper stigma. So each and every carpel or each and every pistil will contain four parts, or the three parts basically, because ovule are present inside the ovary. So we just consider the ovary as a part. So ovary, style, and stigma. Okay, these are the three parts of the gynoecium or the pistil. So accordingly, we see the four whorls. What are the four whorls? First whorl was the sepals, calyx, petals, corolla. Third, stamen, anther and filament, that is the androecium. Stigma, style, and ovary, that is the pistil, collectively called as gynoecium. So accordingly, these are the four whorls of the flower. So now, if the flower has got all these four whorls present in them, then we call the flower a complete flower. Okay? A flower will be a complete flower only when it has got all the four whorls, that is the sepals, petals, style, androecium and gynoecium. If all the four whorls are present in a flower, then it is called as a complete flower. And if it is lacking one of the thing, then it will be an incomplete flower. A complete or a perfect flower is one which contains all the four floral structures. If one or more sets of floral structure are missing, the flower are called incomplete or imperfect flower. Essential, reproductive and non-essential, non-reproductive parts of flower. So we now know that over here, we know that this pistil is the female organ and stamen is the male organ. So automatically this and this become the essential parts of the flower, whereas the petals and the sepals are non-essential because they are not taking part in the reproduction process. They are not taking part in it. They are just helping to protect and to attract the insects and all, but they are not helping in the process. That's why we see that the essential parts will be the androecium and gynoecium, whereas the non-essential will be corolla and calyx. The essential parts of the flower are those that are directly concerned with reproduction. Yes, I told you, they are directly concerned with the reproduction. जो reproduction में directly concerned है, that is the style, the stigma, the anther, the filament, the pollen grains, the ovules, they are directly connected to it. These parts include the sepals, directly connected to it. These parts consist of the stamen, the male part, and the carpel, the female part. The non-essential, they are accessories. What they are called as accessories. They are non-essential, they are accessories. They are just going to help in the process of reproduction. The non-essential parts are simply the helping parts which either protect the reproductive part of the flower or make the flower attractive for pollination. These parts include the sepals and petals. In some cases, the petals and sepals are undifferentiated, together called perianth. So when the sepals and petals are such that you cannot differentiate between a sepal and a petal, then such a kind of a flower will be called as perianth. The perianth is the kind of, when perianth is non-green, it is described as petaloid. Okay, so if this perianth, so now what we see is that whenever a flower is such that its sepals and petals are not identified, you cannot identify the sepals and petals, you cannot differentiate between sepals and petals. In such cases, there could be two conditions. Either one is that if the sepals and petals both are colored, that means the sepals which are normally green are not green, but they are non-green. So if the perianth, they are called as perianth. So these, when sepals and petals are both quite similar to each other, means they cannot differentiate between them, then they are called as perianth. Now these perianth would, if they are non-green, if the color of the perianth is colored, it is not green but some another color, then they are called as petaloids because they are similar to the petals. That's why they will be called as petaloids. Okay, so perianth which are petaloids. So non-green one will be petaloids. But if this both, that is the petals as well as the sepals, both are green in color, they will be called as sepaloids. Sepal, petal का petaloid and sepal का sepaloid. Sepaloid green, sepals green color के होते हैं, इसीलिए अगर दोनों green color के हैं तो perianth will be sepaloid. If the petals are colored, so automatically if the both are colored, then it is a petaloid. Bracts. When a flower arises in the axil of a leaf-like structure, this structure is known as bract. So whenever a flower is such that it is a leaf-like structure is there and उसके बीच में से वैसे flower जैसा बाहर निकल रहा है, leaf है इधर, उसके बीच में से flower बाहर निकल रहा है इधर, on the axil, then it is called as the bract. Okay, so bract may be green like ordinary leaf, or at times they are colored. A large and colorful bract of bougainvillea is easily mistaken as petals. The actual flower in this case is small, somewhat cylindrical and attached to the inner side of the bract. You must have seen bougainvillea so many times. You must have seen the white color, purple color, pink color के bougainvillea रहते हैं. वो आप लोग ऐसे लगता है कि लीव जो है ना वही उसके ग्रीन कलर के नहीं है, व्हाइट कलर के, बट दे आर नॉट एक्चुअली द लीव्स, दे आर दी ब्रैक्ट्स, बिकॉज एक्चुअल फ्लावर वो जो लीव्स जो है व्हाइट कलर के लीव्स उसके बीच में से देयर इज अ स्मॉल सिलिंड्रिकल इतना सा रहता है. सो यू कैन सी द कलर व्हिच इज फोटो व्हिच इज गिवन ओवर हियर, दिस वन, दीज आर कॉल्ड एज ब्रैक्ट्स. सो द बोगनविला plant you must have seen many times. Normally in our area we see it in white color. White color के ऐसे leaves like structures रहते हैं जिसके बीच में से एक cylindrical part रहेगा. So that will be nothing but the bract. So actual flower is in this case is small, somewhat cylindrical and attached to the inner side of the bract. The next is nectaries. Most flowers produce a sweet fragrant liquid. Okay, most of the flowers they see basically the flowers need to attract the insects towards themselves. So अगर insect को कोई advantage नहीं है flower के पास आने का, तो insect क्यों आएगा? So that's why the flower produces nectar, which is a liquid जिससे honey बनता है. Yes. So it produces nectar so that the insects are attracted towards the flower. So in this way, the nectaries are that particular we can say organs which are generating the nectar for the flower. So most flowers produce a sweet fragrance liquid called nectar. Group of nectar secreting cells called nectaries are situated usually at the base of the pistil. So at the base of the pistil over here, somewhere here, you will find that the nectaries are located. The nectar attracts insects like honeybee for cross-pollination. In some cases, nectaries are very prominent as in nasturtium. So nasturtium is a flower in which the nectaries are very prominent. They could be easily very well seen over there. That's why it is a prominent kind of a nectaries present in nectaries present in nasturtium. The next is we work now about the sexuality in the flower. So yeah, as I told you that if a particular flower can have all the four words, then it is a complete flower. And in such a case, it is a bisexual flower because the flower has got both the male and the female organs in the same flower. That's why it is called as a bisexual flower. So let's see in detail over here. Male, female and bisexual flowers. The anthers of the stamen produce pollen which forms the male cells. So the male gametes are present inside this anther. So this anther has got the powdery white the structures over here. This powdery round structures which are here are nothing but the pollen grains. So this particular anther produces the male gametes called as the pollen grains. So the pollen is a male gamete. The ovary of the carpel bears the ovules. We have seen the ovules over here. These are the small balls which are there. There's the ovules. So the ovary contains the ovules. The ovary of the carpel bears the ovule which encloses the egg cell, that is a female gamete. The stamen and the carpels are the male and the female parts of the flower respectively. So accordingly we see that the stamen and the pistil or the carpel are the male and the female parts of the flower respectively. A flower which contains both stamen and carpels is called as a bisexual or hermaphrodite or just the perfect flower. So those who has got both androecium, gynoecium both, that is male and female both in them, they are called as a perfect flower or a bisexual flower or hermaphrodite. A flower which has only one of the part, that is one only having the stamen or only the carpel, is unisexual flower or imperfect flower. So if a flower has got only the style and the stigma but not the anther and filament, or it has got only anther and the filament and no style stigma, then we call it to be as unisexual flower because it has got only one of the sexes. It has got only one sexual organ, either male part or the female part. So that is called as a unisexual flower, incomplete flower or imperfect flower. For example is papaya and palm. A unisexual flower which contains only the stamen is called as a male or staminate flower. So because it's a stamen, so if the plant contains, the flower contains only the male flowers, if the male organ, if it has got only the male kind of organ, then it will be called as a male flower or a staminate flower. Whereas if the flower contains only the carpel, that is it has got only the female part, then it is called as the female or a pistillate flower. So pistillate flower if it is having only female parts, and staminate flower if it has got only male parts. A neuter flower, a flower in which both male and female reproductive organs are lacking, is example of a ray floret of sunflower. See, there is a flower. The sunflower has got many small flowers inside itself. It's over there. So that flower are called as the ray floret of the sunflower. So that ray floret are neuter flower because they neither have the male organ nor the female organs. Because they don't have the male part nor the female part, that's why they are called as the neuter flower. So this is how we are defining the sexuality of the flower, that the flower can be either bisexual if it has got both the male and the female parts, that is it has got both gynoecium as well as androecium. They are called as bisexual or hermaphrodite. It will be called as the imperfect flower if it has got only one of the part. If it has got only male part, it is staminate. If it has only female part, then it is pistillate. Okay, and if it is lacking both of them, it is a neuter flower. So this was about the sexuality of the flower. Now we continue with the general description about the floral parts. Now we'll see the detail the parts of petals, sepals, वो जो भी है वो सब कुछ हम लोग अभी डिटेल में पढ़ेंगे, but in the next video.